So we are wired to eat. So the question that I asked myself, and I want you to ask yourself, and I want to ask you, is why do we all like foods that makes us fat? So why do we crave and why do we eat all these foods that we know consciously that are not quote unquote good for us, right? So why do we indulge in cakes, in chips, all this stuff, right? What's the reason behind? So a while ago I read this book which is called We Are Wired to Eat, or I think it's Wired to Eat, and it was, I would say, mind blowing, but it really opened, this concept to me. And basically, the idea behind was, look, do not feel guilty that you have to fight against your willpower because you feel like you want to eat the chips, you want to eat the burger, you want to eat the ice cream, because this is actually very normal and physiological. So that's what I want us to explore today. So, as I was saying, the truth is we are genetically wired to eat more and eat less. So this, goes against basically our idea of what, being healthy or, healthy eating and healthy exercise is. But if you think of it, and, today's call, you have to think through evolution and survival lenses. If you were, 5,000 years ago in a forest, in the wild, obviously, and food is scarce, so there is no abundance of food around you like there is today. You just go to the shop and you buy stuff. Obviously, the instinct that you will have is to eat as much as possible when food is available, and then rest as much as possible. Use your energy just to do a few things, just to find more food, kill animals to eat, have sex. Okay, that's all the energy you will spend. The rest of the time, you will rest. And you can probably see if someone has animals, you can see this. The animals just eats and rest, sometimes play, but it's not like consciously going on a treadmill. All right. So our physiology, our body, is actually genetically wired to eat as much food as possible to survive, right? And then spend as less energy as possible to preserve this energy in order to survive. So as I was saying, this is, for evolution and survival. So seeking for high calorie food, especially high fat and high sugar, meant that we were able to survive in the wild and evolve as a species. So, that's exactly what's behind, all the foods that we crave. They are high calorie, high sugar, high fat. Why? Because these are the things that were making possible for us to thrive in a very challenging environment. So if something tastes good, there is a reason behind it, and then we're going to explore that in a second. So let me just move here. So think about it. What foods do really taste good and are present in nature? And what I put here? Fruit. Like, for example, like fruit it tastes. So if you think nature, so nothing artificial, nature. What are the foods that that taste good? Come on, fruit has to be fruit, right? Like imagine a mango, a banana. This sweetness is really appealing, right? So imagine if I was in the wild and I find a banana tree. I would want to eat, as many bananas as possible, and the banana will taste good. So I will be driven to eat more of it. And fun enough, those are the foods that have the better nutrition, like bananas, vitamins, minerals. If I would think if I was in the wild and all I had was a banana available, I would live a decent life. Okay. And then what we have animal foods, right? So that's the reason why we started hunting, because we will kill the animal, eat the meat from the animal, the organs full of nutrients. Again, these are, for example, organs are probably flavors that we're not used to that anymore, but in reality, they're really flavorful and they're really full of nutrients. The fat of the animal as well, right? Fatty meat tastes good. Look at bacon. Chicken thighs, taste better than chicken breast. Why? Because of the fat. So, and eating fat in the wild, if it was for survival, will give you advantage, right? Imagine eating, um, eating a chicken thigh will give you more calories than eating a leaf. So, back in the day, the goal was to eat as many calories as possible for you to survive. And the food that tastes good, fun enough, is the one with better nutrients, which will then also not only calories, but also better nutrients that will make survival easier. So our taste buds in our mouths are actually engineered to for us to like the food that is good for us. Okay? Now, what's the problem with this? It's called hyperpalatability. So, hyperpalatable foods are those made with a mix of ingredients that light up people's brain rewards, neural circuitry, and overpower mechanisms that are supposed to signal when we have enough food, when we had enough to eat. Because these foods essentially enhance their consumption, overweight and obesity can be the results. So what happened? In nature, we have all these foods that they taste good, they're good for us. Then man understood the trick and started playing with it. And we created hyper palatable food. And hyper palatable means basically that we mixed all these things that we know are very attractive for our bodies: sugar, fat, high calories, salt. We banded together and we created these superfoods, but not super because they're good for us. It's because we literally, once we start eating them, we cannot stop. So you can see from the picture, obviously chips, burger. We got soda like Coca-Cola and stuff like that. What's that, like Doritos, cakes, donuts. Look at that. So you have a combination of stuff that is fried, so high fat, salt, sugar, so sugar and fat, salt and fat. All when you combine all these things, they make this food that literally you're not eating them because you're weak. You don't have willpower. You're actually eating them because these food are man-made and are made for you to eat them. It's like they trigger, as I said, that it triggers a neural a neural circuitry that overpower the mechanism that are supposed to signal when we have enough. So basically, it's like a drug. We get sort of addicted, and we don't know when to stop. Also, the texture of the food, like crisps. Why crisps are so tempting is because of the crispy, right? When you eat them, that texture also enhances this hyperpalatability. So yeah, we basically created food that they're not made in nature. Like in nature, there is nothing like that. You have a banana, and then which is high sugar and is good for you, and then you have an animal which is a high protein, high fats, but you don't have a sweet animal. So you don't, there is not like a sweet animal or a fatty banana, right? So we made these crazy foods that are pretty much in everyone's cupboard and in all the stores, that no wonder you're gonna stop eating. That's what it's meant to do. It's basically playing with your body, playing with your brain, playing with your um, taste buds. All right. So what can you do about it? What can we do about it? And I got a couple of suggestions here. So first of all, now that you understand, that it's normal for you to crave certain foods, and also understand that you're not going to die anytime soon. All right. So survival is not a problem anymore, right? When it comes down to food, at least. And craving and hunger are two different things. Like hardly we feel hunger anymore. Okay. Nowadays we eat at regular intervals, and we don't even know what hunger is, and we mistaken the signals that once um, used to be good for us. So most of the times what we have is a craving, and that's absolutely fine. It's just, let's say your body is low in energy because maybe you didn't sleep good. You're gonna crave more sugar. Why? Because sugar is energy. It's a quick energy for your body. So your body will crave sugar to get like a quick energy, but in reality, you need sleep. So you see how different things can trigger certain cravings. There is also like a list of different, actually, there's like a list of cravings that are connected to actually like a deficiency. There is, for example, like if you're, let's say you're lack in iron, you're probably gonna crave like chocolates or stuff like that. So again, the cravings are absolutely normal. It's not because you are weak or you have a problem or whatever. It's just that stress or too much work, being too busy, using too much the brain, will use lots of glycogen, which is a form of energy. It's basically a simple form of sugar that our body uses as energy. So if you're busy or you're stressed, you will crave energy, you will crave sugar. So you see how cravings are normal. Just understand why they are there, and understand that cravings are not hunger. Okay, so that's the first step, awareness. And then my suggestion, knowing that we have these hyper palatable foods, what can we do about it? This is something that I'm maybe unconsciously been doing for years now. Um, Probably since I started looking into eating healthier and improving the way I feel, the way I look. And is I got used to simple flavors. I reduce the sugar and salt intake in my diet. And then I try to eliminate or decrease the amount of sweeteners and obviously like fatty dressings. So obviously when you start doing that, you will notice that the volume of the food will reduce. Okay, imagine, and I'm gonna make this example like very stupid just to make you understand. That's not actually what I do. But let's say you have a plain chicken breast and a plain broccoli. Would how likely is that you will overeat on it? Like if I put an infinite amount of chicken breast and an infinite amount of broccoli in front of you, what's the likelihood of you eating a lot of it? Not much, because you would get kind of bored. Okay, but that's fine, because actually you're gonna eat until you are satisfied, until your body say, okay, I've had enough. Cool. Now, if on this chicken breast and on this broccoli, I get barbecue sauce. On the broccoli, I put like, let's say, that'd be disgusting, a Caesar dressing, right? What I'm doing, I'm basically putting all this stuff, all this substance on the food to make it hyper palatable, right? The barbecue sauce obviously is like sugar and fat. Caesar dressing is fat and salt, all these flavors, right? I bet you can double, if not triple, the amount of food that you can eat because you're putting all these sauces on it. And I get it, you probably like the dressing, you probably like the sauces, because at the end of the day we need to enjoy food and the taste is good, blah blah blah. But just go back to what we just talked about, right? This is stuff that has been engineered for you to overeat on it. So if you go, let's say if your goal is trying to lose weight and you try to eat less and you feel like you can't stop eating and stuff like that, you need to, in my opinion, there is value in desensitizing a little bit from like strong flavors and just enjoy the food. Like at the end of the day, it's just a matter of desensitize yourself. Like I love food? I love food. Of course I love food. I'm Italian, come on. But when I do my chicken, when I do my meat and stuff like that, I honestly put like some salt, herbs, spices, um, and this is how I eat most of the times. But not because I'm boring. It's just the way I came to do things, and I also know that if I start putting like barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, ketchup on the stuff, first of all, it doesn't feel good. It won't feel good to me. But then I know that this will actually, it will trick my brain, not knowing when to stop. And that's literally what we just talked about. So if my goal was to lose weight, I want to keep that as bad, because probably my signals have been a little bit tricked for a while. I've been overeating on food. Why? Because of this. Because I got my palate, my taste buds, they got used to eat sweet things, eating like all these very tasty but very high calorie foods. Okay, so whatever, and then obviously different cultures have different foods and stuff, but you know um, anyone can probably think of something they've been eating which is very high calorie. It tastes great, of course, but let's put it that way. If you gain weight, it's because of something, right? Like you've been probably overeating on something. Of course, you've been sedentary, um, but you've been eating a lot. Why? because sometimes you haven't been able to stop eating some foods. So that means that your taste buds are kind of, they're used to these flavors, and now it's really hard for you to eat clean. But in reality, that's how it should be. So I encourage everyone to go back to simple flavors, uh, cut down, reduce sugar intake, salt intake, very strong flavors and stuff like that. Go back to eating, feel the taste of what, plain food is like, plain, simple chicken, meat. What does the vegetable taste like? It's like, and again, honestly, when you get used to it, you start enjoying it, and then it becomes normal. So there might be a transition phase, but it will become normal, so to speak. And if that's your goal, you will probably need to go through that. So, that's it. Um, I don't know if yes, are you still there?
I'm here, yes.
So, what do you think about the presentation? Do you have any questions?
I do have one question. How do you deal with people who are genetically born with binge eating?
Sorry?
How would you deal with people who are genetically born with binge eating?
So binge eating is there can be different reasons. I don't think it's genetic. I think it's environmental, right?
The reason why I said is because do you remember the genetic test I've sent you?
Yeah.
The results. One of the results was that I have binge eating. Sort of a binge eating disorder.
Okay.
It's not really disorder, but I do have binge eating in my genetics.
And you found that it's true.
Yes, it is true. It's definitely true. Yes, yes.
So,
because especially during this lockdown time, I was just trying to put food, just trying to eat, although I don't need to. My body's not asking for food, but I'm just still having it.
yeah. So binge eating is in my opinion, is a combination of two things. Obviously, we have the physiological side that's literally what we just talked about. You never binge on chicken breast or broccoli, right?
No.
You only binge on foods that are high palatable, high fat, high sugar, and stuff like that. So that's physiologically, there is nothing wrong with you. It's just that your body is actually again wired with stuff. Now we need to understand this first, and then you have to understand that very likely. So binge eating is also not only a physiological factor, but a psychological factor. So because obviously we we have an abundance of food, so sometimes we can actually, so it can be for stress, okay? So some people might deal with stress with binge eating, and that's me as well. Like if I'm stressed, I will snack like crazy. The days that I'm stressed, I'm back and forth from the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So that's I noticed that on myself. So stress can trigger obviously cravings normally, and you crave normally, all the stuff that we just talked about, like very high calorie, sugar, blah blah blah. For me, sugar, 100%. And then so that can be stress, and there can also be let's say some emotional imbalance. Then specific,
Again, psychological reference.
right?
It's a psychological reference.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
something might happen. Perhaps many people lockdown happen. Lots of stress, lots of worries about the situation, being at home and not going to work. All these
Yeah.
psychological factors that happen, and then one of our, for some people, for loads of people actually, one of the first reaction is to go to food as comfort. So to find in food comfort, right? Some people would do drugs, like everyone has his own thing. Some people would drink, right? It's
Yeah.
it's a coping mechanism. So some people will cope with hard, stressful situation using food. Um, and again, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs, right? We just in some cases it's food.
Yeah.
So
It could be a bottle of wine.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah, many people, right? um I know people that they might drink a bottle of wine a day just to cope with the day. Oh, I had a stressful day, I'm gonna have a bottle of wine, to cope with the day. And then becomes like a daily thing, right? Oh, I had a stressful day, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
a bottle of wine. Some people does that with food. And there's normally you see people will tend to eat loads of food in the evening,
Yeah.
because that's when the day finishes and they kind of relax and they feel overwhelmed with stress, and so they find in comfort in food. So I think obviously it's how would I deal with it is, there is a couple of things that you can do. First of all is awareness. So just, okay, understanding, be aware of why this is happening. Like, let's say, tonight I feel like binging. So then I'm ask myself a question, okay, why am I binging? Of course, I need to ask myself this question. Is it because also could be also different reasons. Like perhaps I'm restricting my diet too much during the week, and then at the weekend I feel like binging. That has happened to me loads of times, loads of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
Yeah. Yeah.
in the when I was much younger, and even recently, so that was actually for me it was a red flag that I was doing, something wrong regarding, like I was restricting myself too much. Like this happened when I was doing like a ketogenic or low carb diet. Then when it was coming, when the weekend came, I was just binging. Like since the time I wake up till night, I would just eat, 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 eat. So that can be a red flag. Okay, why am I binging? So if in that
Yeah.
case, it was because I was restricting my diet too much, for example. If it's something on the emotional side, again, why am I binging? Am I binging because I'm sad? Am I binging because I'm worried? So once you answer to that question, like knowing why you are binging, then because binging is not the problem. Binging is the effect of something else. So
Right.
if I want to fix the binging, I need to fix the problem before the binging. So what's causing the binging? Is it the stress, worry, I'm sad, I broke up with my girlfriend, or I restricted my diet too much. So understanding why you're binging, and then you can't fix the binging unless you're fixing the problem
First.
itself.
Gotcha.
So And that's obviously that's the hard part.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, definitely.
That's the hard part. And again, because we have such a strong, physiologically, the cravings and stuff like that, they're very strong. Like, that's why binge eating is such a strong feeling that, you can't stop eating. Even if you're full, you can't stop. So, that's very hard to, and actually I have a couple of tricks that we can use. But again, that would be really hard to fix unless you fix the problem. So, is that an emotional issue? Let's deal with that, because once you deal with that, the binge goes away. So can we, if that happens, can we trick the body somehow? Yeah, there is few things that you can do. Like, for example, stupid, like when I was dieting and I was really, at one point I was really hungry and I would crave sugar, I would crave stuff. Stupid trick, like I will drink a Coke Zero because for my brain that was sugar, right?
Yeah, you need the
So
sugar. Yeah.
it's on, so that's like, that will satisfy my cravings. It's easy, so that's something that you can do. But there's probably like, I don't know if that will work with binging, because when you want to binge, you do whatever it takes to get the food that you want. Um,
Yeah.
but
It
okay,
is a difficult topic to discuss, isn't it? Because you have to sort yourself out first. Find
yeah,
out what's the issue. Yeah.
you have to, again, you have to have the awareness, and then, okay, if I feel like binging, understanding, okay, all right, I'm just stressed. So instead of binging, I don't need, if understanding you don't need to binge. If binge is not going to
Yeah.
fix the problem. So maybe, okay, what you can do, have a normal meal. So you're going to fill yourself up with the normal food. And hopefully, instead of craving the cheat meal or whatever, you're just gonna be full, and you're like, okay, now I'm full. The craving is gone. Or maybe
Mm.
you have the normal meal that you're supposed to have, and then you're not gonna beat them. Maybe the craving is still there, but maybe instead of having like the whole ice cream, let's say you just have like a couple of spoons because you're full already.
Yeah.
Or another way, let me see if I have it here. So something like this, like those are 10-calorie jelly. This is something as well that I use during, when I was dieting. Sometimes, just get really hungry, but you don't have any calories left. So this jelly have literally 10 calories.
Right.
They fill you
How
up.
much sugar has it got?
Sorry?
Has it got any sugar or anything?
Um, no, literally just gelatin, water,
That's
and
all right.
sweeteners. Um, so literally, I was having this, like before bed when I was getting really hungry.
Yeah.
I was craving food. I will have this, this, because it's gelatin, will actually fill you up as well. Because it will, it's gelatin, so it will will fill the space in your stomach. So it will actually fill you up. So there is kind of tricks that you can use. But again, understand that it's not easy,
Yeah.
but also understand why the craving is there. Why do you feel to binge as well? Like, okay, I'm feeling to binge. Okay, why? Before you do it, maybe you do it, maybe you do anyway. But before you do it, you're like, okay, why am I binging? Is that a stressful situation that I need to deal with? I'm sad, or maybe I'm restricting myself too much. So there is few things that you can do, and then you have a choice. You can choose to still binge, or you
Yeah.
need to, okay, you know what? Let me have my meal rather than order a pizza. Let me have my meal. And this is one of the reasons why I like to have like meals ready, like kind of a meal prep style. Because if I feel like binging and I want to order a pizza, but I have already like my meat and my vegetables cooked in the fridge, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna throw this stuff
Gonna go
away.
waste, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat that, and then I see.
Mm.
I kind of I postpone it. I'm like, I'm gonna have that, and then if I feel like maybe, and then
Yeah.
sometime by the end of the day, I'm like, okay, fine, I'm full now. Let's go to sleep.
Mm. Oh, that's good, mate.
So again,
I
it's
think I think I think the key one for myself is to have the meal on time, especially the 3 meals a day. And other than that, it's just filling yourself with water. Just keep the stomach full.
yeah, water is really important. As I said, sometimes we might crave, we feel like we're craving like a snack, but in reality
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
just thirsty.
yeah,
We're just thirsty. We just need to drink more.
yeah.
um but yeah, definitely, like it doesn't happen too much to me, but I understand, and I've seen situations with my clients where, let's say, you're coming back, maybe not now, or even now, after a day of work, you stress, you're tired, and and there is no food ready. So you have two options. You're like, oh, am I gonna start cooking now,
Yeah.
or
Or
I'm
order.
just gonna take my phone and order something?
Yeah.
What's the easiest? Option two, I'm gonna order something. Then you go on Deliveroo or Uber Eats, and what do you see? You see pizza, you see burgers, you see Chinese,
All sorts. And
right?
then all
So
you.
now the willpower gets even less, because again, you're tired. It was a long day. You're hungry, and you're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna have a Chinese tonight.
Mm.
So then that was easy to escalate like that. While if you're prepared, then stuff is in the fridge. You know what? In my head, I'm thinking, why wasting 20 quid on Deliveroo when I have my meat cooked already in the fridge? That's what I think, in my head.
Yeah.
But then by thinking that, I'm actually, I'm gonna feel better tomorrow. I save
Mm.
money. It's helping my, the way I look. So it escalates in a positive way. So I think, yeah, having the food ready is very important.
Yeah. Cool.
And obviously we got the phones now that everything is very accessible, but this is like the most stupid advice ever, but yet the most important and most effective is this: if you crave, you always crave or often crave something in particular, do not buy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, if let's say, I'm gonna say, okay, let's say, I know I crave M&Ms.
Yeah.
I go to the shop, I look at the packet, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna buy, but I'm only gonna have two, and then I keep it in the cupboard.
That's not happening.
That's never gonna happen. You're gonna buy it, you eat the whole packet straight away. So if
Yeah.
you're gonna binge or crave something, try not to have it in the house. This is like a stupid trick, but honestly, if you
Yeah.
don't buy it, you're not gonna have it. It's not. There is less likelihood. There's also one of the reasons why I do my shopping online,
Uh huh.
because I swear, if I go to the shop,
You buy everything.
I end up buying the whole like honestly, I would be ashamed of showing what I buy. I would be
Right.
ashamed. But that's the way it works, right? You go in the shop and our brain wants all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if
What
I
I try to do is I try to go grocery shopping after I had a meal. That just helped me not to buy extra stuff.
yeah.
When I'm hungry, man, the whole cart gets completely filled up, which goes to the bin anyway because I don't get the opportunity to finish it. Or how I feel, it just goes right at the back of the kitchen cupboard.
That's the thing, right? And
Yeah,
imagine when you remember, for example, in Tesco and Sainsbury, they used to have the chocolate and the sweets before at the till.
yeah,
They had to remove it, right?
yeah,
Because there was a trigger, like people couldn't resist.
yeah.
You go there to pay, and there is a high chance that you will pick it, the Mars bar, the sneaker. This one is sometimes tricks us,
Mm.
but we just need to know why, and then okay, accept it, but also understand it, and understand that at the end of the day we are in control.
Mm.
And okay, I'm craving that, but why? Do I really need it? It's not like I need it. Like I'm not gonna die if I don't eat a sneaker.
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's true.
that's
Just
what
gotta keep that in mind.
just have to think. So you have to bring the conscious brain into it sometimes. And you have to ask yourself, do I really need this? Why am I eating this? What's the benefit of it? Is it gonna be good for me long term? And sometimes the question is, I don't care. I will have anyway. But you need to make sure that that's 1/10 of the times rather than
All the time.
times, right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
So back to balance, where everyone says balance. Don't get me
Sure.
wrong. If I look at my cupboard, I'm not gonna be super clean. So I still do things myself, but I try to balance it, and as long as it works towards my goals, then cool.
Happy days. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the key.
Cool.
So shall we call it?
Let's call it a day. Yeah.
Sweet. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank
Uh,
you, Matteo.
um, very good question, very good topic. Thank you for bringing it up. I think this will benefit a lot of people. Um, and yeah, so I will see you. I'll talk to you um, in a few days through the check-ins. Yeah.
Sure. No problem. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Take care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye bye.